I swear, in life, I feel like I am just speaking my own language. And it's weird is because I feel so much like people can think that they understand what I'm saying. And like they can hear the words and then they can think they know what I'm saying. And then they will respond to what they think I know I'm saying. And then I'll be like, you don't know what I'm saying. Like, it's so weird. But literally, you can really only understand somebody's on your same vibration. The words and stuff are so manipulated. And you know, at the food bank, the one guy who, as soon as you didn't agree with him, you watch Fox, you're a MAGA. Like, dude, you are triggered. Like, you are fucking, but another thing he had said was, what was it I was just talking about? Oh my God. I let another vision in and then it's like, wait, where was the other one? But he was talking about languages because, we have all these Russians up there and then it even gets more defined. And I wasn't even sure if it was another country or another place in Russia. Because then he was saying, oh, well, so-and-so only speaks blah, blah, blah. He gets real involved in all this stuff. And I was just like, I didn't even know, like, some of them are speaking different languages even. And so, anyways, when he was talking about the language thing, I said, I think he said something about English is the language everyone can understand or something like that. I said, I wish I knew how to speak another language. And then he said something about English is one everybody can understand or something. And then I was like, it was very manipulated. Got all these words that look the same, mean different things. Like, it's nonsense. It's used for manipulation. I didn't go into all that with him. That would just be whoop, way over there and way above where he's focused on. So he started telling me his sister or sister-in-law or somebody was a linguist. It could have even been his ex-wife. I don't know. Was a linguist. And so when she was going to school, he was reading all her books and stuff and saw where English was made or something. Because I said something about the crown or whatever. And he goes, actually, the crown was... what was it? They spoke because the church spoke Latin, the crown spoke something, and then the people spoke a different. He said it was like 3 different languages going at once, and I think it is because just think like when you go and you are standing around a bunch of people who are speaking a different language, and you're the outcast, you're the minority. Everybody else is speaking Spanish, Russian, French, Italian, whatever. And you're the only one who doesn't understand. It kind of makes you feel like, what are they talking about? What's going on? Do I need to know something here? Like it kind of draws you into, like you're missing out on something. And so I think probably that, Rockefeller, the people who were back in the crown, that they were, well, we need to know what these people are talking about. We can't have them all talking about all different things in their own language and secret conversations. We need them all to be on the same page. Because when you think about it, because like I've said, I believe that everything is like same thing we think of as planets, like all these different land masses, which sure is a lot of people saying that we're actually in America is actually in Africa, that the whole map is a lie. Everything is a lie. I have no idea. I mean, to me, I think that some of the pyramids and all this stuff being exposed, I think it's because it was everywhere. It was, they were going out in other places and stuff. But, I think our history, once stuff starts really opening up for people who are interested, I don't think it's going to be forced on people. But if you're interested, I think there's going to be a lot more information about our history. Like I had heard that there's going to be lots and lots of like digs and where people go and get involved in looking for hidden history and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, that's much better than going up to work at the gas station, right? Which in that hurricane situation, so the one girl who I said is just really having a hard time. She was really, really scared of hurricanes. And yesterday she did this really, I think the day before, she did this really powerful one. She walked out to the beach and she was talking about, she walked way out on the pier. And she was talking about hurricane was her worst fear. And now she's facing her fears and she's going to have to face something and she's excited to overcome it. And I think where she was, it didn't get as bad. It's like there's some places that are super bad, super, super bad. Like I guess apparently there's even sharks and alligators swimming through the water. But the water is really high in some places. Like I've seen it up, the sides of houses and stuff. And everything just out floating around. I mean, it's a big mess. And but so the weird thing is her job had they've evacuated all these places. They're saying stage 5 or whatever, and she works at this little Conoco, she said, and they said they're not closing. They were expecting her to get to work, and she has to ride a bike. She doesn't have a car or anything, so she has to ride a bike 3 miles. And she was like, well, I guess I have to go. I don't want to lose my job. And she started, kind of getting really nervous because it's like, dun, 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 like the Wizard of Oz with the witch riding and the tornado come. And then, so she was kind of like kept thinking that was going to happen and she's just going to get sucked up into the storm. And so she was like, I guess I just got, it's crazy because, everybody keeps being faced with this stuff. And it's just like, well, I guess I got to do what I got to do. How am I going to pay my rent? I got to go. I got to do this. I got to do that. See, people get themselves boxed in. They can't think outside of that box. Like, okay, well, this is what I have to do. There's no choices. I have no other way to do this. This is all I can do. And that is what holds us back. Is we get this defined idea of what has to be done, how we have to do it. And the definition always comes from the source of all of this world that is leading us in a certain direction. And so she said, she did end up calling in and saying, I'm not coming. Good choice. But I don't know if hers got as bad. I know that they had a storm, but there were some places that like all the trees are down. I guess I just heard somebody say, this is another thing. I just wish that people could start understanding. I guess, this is the beginning of people to start understanding. Oh my God, now my nose is so itchy. I can't quit. I just sneeze. Last night I got the worst pain in my stomach. And it is still going. I have no idea what in the hell. And seriously, yesterday I cut up some potatoes and cooked them like JoJo's, just baked them in the oven like fries, right? And then I just made a tomato sandwich. The tomato I got from government food. It smelled normal and it tastes normal, but it's injected with or sprayed with fucking chemicals. And then a loaf of bread. So I just made a tomato sandwich, so a little bit of mayonnaise. And then I was sitting here later in the evening, and I had been making booties. Tomorrow I'm going to show you the whole little thing, which the whole thing with the banks, because England is already going, like they're trying to save it, we're throwing a life preserver, we got this, it's all a game, it's all bullshit, it's just their fucking show. And but they're crashing. So I had told yesterday I told my daughter and my kid, because the thing, let me finish the storm thing first. I'll go all over the place and then I'll tell you the other thing. So this guy, he was saying, oh, please, you got to cut down your trees. Like when these storms come in, a tree fell on a kid and killed him. It's just like, oh my God, it can't happen unless it's supposed to happen. That is how the kid was going to go. It's not like, oh, well, let's cut down all the trees and then no trees will fall on anybody and nobody will die. You don't understand what is happening. Like, these people who keep thinking like you can dodge death. If you just do it right, if you just wear your seatbelt, if you just, all of these things, if you just do this, if you just do that, you can dodge death. No, you cannot dodge death. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're 6 months old or you're 69 years old. Doesn't fucking matter. It's going to come when it's supposed to come. There is no getting away from it. And it seems to be a really, really difficult concept for people to wrap their heads around. Like they really think like they're dodging death all the time. Oh, it's coming this way. It's coming that way. Oh, I got you. You know, it's like, no, you're not dodging shit. You're dodging your fucking own mind. You're dodging your fear. You're spending your life running from something you don't need to run from. But anyways, you know, it's everybody's challenge to realize, you know, what this place is, what you are, all of it. But anyhow, so the other thing that I was about to start talking about. Okay, so the banks in England, so they're falling, which it's going to be like a domino effect. Like, however they're trying to play this out, you know, is they've got a plan how they plan to do it. Like if they want to make this big dramatic thing, oh my God, we're doing everything we can to save the money people, you know, whatever. They're going to make their drama and act like they're doing something to help. And it's just a fucking game. It's just a show. So once it starts going, it will just domino effect across the countries involved. And we're, you know, a huge one. So they will, the thing that when I told my daughter, so then when I heard them yesterday, like the bulletin that the banks were crashing in England, in England, then I was like, oh crap. So if they crash, like it could be today, tomorrow, it could be Monday, you know, who knows how long they're going to drag this out. I can't believe they drug it out this fucking long. And so once it starts going down, you won't be able to use cash. You won't be able to use a card. You won't be able to use anything. There will be nothing to use. You won't be able to go to the store and get food. You won't be able to go get supplies. You won't be able to go get gas. There will be no way to get it because cards won't work and cash won't work. And that probably there for however long that goes down, which, you know, it could go for a week or two. I don't know how it's all going to play out. I just know that it will go into it's the banks going will be the end of the enslavement of mankind, but then there has to be this whole like reboot. And that's where, you know, they'll start being, okay, well, we got all this gold. We've got everything to rebuild. We've got, you know, and there's some value that we all have. So they'll start giving money. But see, people have to go through this devastation to realize the real value of what they hold. So the once it goes down, like I was telling my daughter, because she is leaving Friday to go to Spokane, which is like 3 or 3.5 hours from her, and to where me to get to her house is like the same. So she's right in the middle of me and Spokane, and so she's gonna go there, and so it would be, you know, a big distance to walk. It would be, I think it would be pretty easy to find your way home. I think for me, it would be, I'd have to circle way out. I would probably just walk in the back routes. But it really gets you thinking like, man, do you just go somewhere and then maybe get stuck there? Because if they go down, you can't get gas. You can't, your car's staying there. And if you either stay with your car or you go. And then the chaos is going to break out. And I'm sure that they have a planned chaos that they want to do. Like they will be the instigators in a lot of cases to create chaos. And I don't think they're going to be limited to big cities, but I think there'll be a condensed amount of drama in the big cities. But, you know, like they can't get out to every single rural town. But I think that they've steadily been putting these people out into communities to try and make sure that they've got, you know, like a grid set up of chaos. So when it goes down, there will be the people who are going to they're going to freak out. And some of them will legitimately be people who are freaking out. And then they'll get caught up in the chaos and join the battle, like, how dare the government take my retirement, those motherfuckers, There's gonna be a lot of, a lot of people who have been putting into retirement, because planning for their future, because that's a big hit on young people. My daughter's been putting into retirement. I mean, they're constantly, you better save for retirement. There's not gonna be Social Security. You better save for retirement. Well, they're just taking that money. It's like you handed it off to somebody who's a gambling addict and said, here, take care of my money for me. I'm like, it's not going to work out. They've already spent that money. They've spent it all. There is no fucking money. And these people, they just can't wrap their head around it. I told my daughter for sure at the beginning of this year, I'm sure as soon as she told me she had retirement saved up, I said, I get it out. I fucking get it out. If you want it, you better get it out and spend it. It's not going to be there. It's going to be gone. So there will be a lot of that kind of freaking out with people, and there will be some young ones, and they will really get caught up in the Tifas out there that are trying to destroy everything, to cause chaos, because then the whole thing is to, I think, kind of keep us separate from where we're headed. They just want so bad to keep us in, chaos. At this point, you would think they just let it go and go like, okay, you caught us. We're done. But, the stuff that I see and the absurdity, now with the FDA, like their whole cover story is senator's wife died taking a vitamin. Oh, it's so dangerous. And so it's such bullshit. Just another one of their bullshit things. Bullshit. If she fucking died of anything, she probably died of fucking poisoning or something. If she even died. If she even existed to begin with. Like, they fucking lie nonstop. And it's all just to come after the people, because they know anybody who wakes up goes off of chemicals and goes straight towards natural. As soon as you start waking up, you start noticing the chemicals and how they affect you. Just like right now, like I've got this horror, and Stella's been crying. Everything is aching on my body, and I know it's something. And I've been staying inside all the time, and now I'm seeing a lot of people who are paying attention, telling people, you need to stay inside. They're raining chemicals down on us. They explain the whole thing, but I think I've explained it before. They come in, they spray the rain, all of this shit. They're getting all these chemicals, and some of them are airborne. These Neo-bot things or whatever, they just spray those right out into the air. So we just breathe them in. And then we sit here, sneezing and coughing, our nose running, and like, oh, I've got the allergies. Got allergies. And my daughter, they're all fully done up, and they're all sick. Everybody's fucking sick. And this one guy was saying, start noticing every time that they do the spraying that everybody gets sick. And it's like, I love seeing people put the pieces together, start noticing. But see, then a lot of people, they get stuck on that. They just get like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And that's a hard one to me, is the poisoning, because it's just everywhere. And when you're feeling crappy, especially if you've had some days where you didn't feel crappy, and like the frequency attacks that we're going through here, which is so nutty, because I've only seen one tower. So I would think they probably have somewhere hidden somewhere in the forest, or they could be hidden everywhere. Like, I swear to God, I've seen them like on antennas on top of schools. Like, they're putting them everywhere. And, but the sound is so loud. Oh my God, it's so loud and aggravating. And then it comes in and you feel it go in and stab, and you can feel effects in your body and stuff. Crazy enough, my guides are relentless. I swear to God, they're constantly like these movies that have been popping up to me I've never heard of. And so I'll put them on, because they always bring me what they want me to see. I don't have to go out and search. If I'm going searching, it's because there's basically only one thing I search for. But there is, when they are showing this, then, okay, let me think what I was going to say. I got off there for a second. I thought, oh, there is one thing you search for. I start going to, okay, wait, let me think. Okay, so the movies that they have been bringing are these really, really old, like from the 50s and 60s, like sci-fi horror movies, which would have been, oh my God, they were my jam when I was a kid. Like, which is one thing that is trippy, is as I'm watching them and like the music and different things bring up these feelings of when I was a kid, but I can't like nothing comes up to the point of like release or something. It just keeps being these feelings, like, but I don't know what, and I'm always trying to dig in deeper, like bring them up, show me what I need to see, show me what I need to see. And I want to release it all. I want to release, because I know personally how much better you feel. The people who are fighting against this, they just don't know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. They think it's just pain and trauma and suffering. They don't know. No, you get past that. You jump over it. You get through it. And once you do, things get better. Like it's almost kind of like where you feel a little bit selfish. Like yesterday, I was like, I am not. When I would see the things with the hurricane and stuff, I had to switch past them because I could feel it inside of me. I could feel the pain, what people are going through, and their fear and stuff. And I was like, oh, I can't put energy into that. I have to just go past it. And it kind of seems like, uncaring or something, but I have to care for myself first. And then I know I don't need to watch people die and suffer to know what's going on. It breaks my heart. I wish I could solve the world's problems. I wish I could get everybody to see the truth. But, for some reason, this is how it has to play out. It has to play out. You can't tell people anything. They have to experience it. And that is part of the ridiculousness of everything they're doing. Like people who are so outraged now, they want the FDA to be getting into the herbalist stuff. People are just like, oh my God, oh my God. People are, oh my God, about so many things. And every time I hear him talk, I'm just like, man, you just don't know at all what's going on. But you can't tell anybody. They have to have it play out. They have to go through it. And strangely enough, Trump said that so many times when he would talk in the speeches before this went out, before Joe even went in. He would say that stuff. And, and it does. You can see, you can't tell anybody anything. And so when I was even telling my daughters yesterday, like, okay, you guys really need to be prepared. I'm not kidding you. Like, when this goes down, this is going to, and they think I'm just complete crazy, especially because I've said it so many times and they keep dragging it out and dragging it out. I definitely, way in the beginning, I would tell neighbors, I would tell other people, be careful, blah, 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 blah. And, but nothing can happen. It's not supposed to happen. But I would always feel like, as a good person, I need to tell them, you need to know to expect, blah, blah, blah. And so now I'm just glad I don't do that anymore, because it's just enough just for my two daughters to think, oh my God, here she goes again. Another crisis, and she just has us on edge. Just something's about to go down. But they don't know. It's the same something I've been talking about the whole fucking time. I don't know how they keep it from going down, but it's gonna go down. I don't know how they've drugged this out so long, but when the money thing starts going and the chaos starts going in the streets, which, a lot of people are expecting, it's going to turn into the purge. And like I said, it will be the planted people that will start that action first. And then, it's like they're trying to promote a civil war, kind of. It's kind of like supposedly what Charles Manson was trying to do, start this civil war by creating chaos or something. They'll do the same kind of thing. And because they want us to fight. They want us to come out in the streets. They want to have an easy shot at us. So, you got to stay in your house. You got to stay safe. And I told my daughters, you got to have some water, because it's they've put it out there. They could turn off the water. They're going to turn it off in some places. So you got to have drinking water. You need to fill up your tub, have some water for flushing the toilet, or have some water somewhere to flush the toilet or whatever, especially if you have multiple people in your house. You're not going to want to have just a toilet. It will fill up like at some point, like a latrine, which, if you had multiple people, you could do a bucket outside. Like, we don't have to be this civilized as they try and make us. We are animals. We can resort back to our natural state of being. Go out and go to the bathroom in the grass. Like, fuck. go out and go to the bathroom in the woods or something. We don't have to be so held back and restricted by these people. Like, that's all they want to do. But so you got to have, it's just so crazy too, because, I mean, if you get evacuated, you're not going to be able to take much. And that's one thing that is on my mind too. Is like, well, what all do you take? Or where, when you're going to, if you have to go, because they're going to have people come in and just, what is that called? Yeah, it was going on in Kentucky and stuff. People just drive in and start going through everybody's stuff and stealing it. And I'm sure that's part of the, they have the storm trackers. Storm trackers just sit out, wait for the storm to pass. The people all flooded out. The ones that are evacuated, they run in and start taking everybody's shit. So, but I was something like, if you don't have power, you got to figure out like how you're going to eat. Like, if you don't have power, your fridge won't be on. And people don't realize it's dark when there's no electricity, and especially in a whole city. So, you'll be in the house in the dark if you don't have candles or flashlights. And if you don't have food that you can eat, easily without having to cook it, or if you have a grill or something. But if it storms and stuff, you can't go out and cook on your grill. Like, there's no telling what someone's going to be hit with. So it's kind of like, you just got to be prepared. And so I try and tell my kids, because they don't realize that if my daughter goes, I was like, well, if you go, you just need to really understand just know before you go. Just pay attention to this. Like, look it up, pay attention to what's going on. Because if you're about to take off and go someplace where you have to use gas, then you have, that's a good idea. As soon as you get there, fill up your tank. Oh, I'll send her that message. Yeah, that's a good idea. So as soon as you get there and your tank's empty, fill it back up so you can get back home. So, especially, for a short distance like that, 3 hours. But so I was just trying to tell her, because if you get there and it goes down, you will not be able to, there will be no getting gas. There will be no way to get it. It will be like the pumps are off, because our cards are going to be worthless. Even if you've saved your cash is going to be worthless once the dollar goes. I mean, you have a lot of people who really think like, well, as long as you keep your dollars, your money hidden, if they don't get your money, it's like, I don't know. Like, yesterday I did this post. This is something that I have thought for a while, because I'll hear gay people and they will be like, oh, I'm just totally gay. I don't know. I only like guys, or I only like girls. I don't like anybody else, and then I have people in my family who are heterosexual who go into gay relationships because they fall in love with somebody. And then so they cross over those limiting beliefs of like, oh no, I only love men, or I only love women, or whatever. So they kind of cross over into, well, I love this person. And so I love a person, not a gender. And that is, one of the things I noticed this a long time ago, and it was some conversation with a gay guy I had, or maybe I was listening to him talk or something. It was years and years ago. I can't even remember. But the whole thing is, he was so defined in what, I only like dick. That's it. That's the only thing, and vaginas are so gross. They're so nasty and stuff like that. And I was thinking, like, I don't know. I know there's heterosexual people who are that, defined. Like, there's no way. But I think a lot of them are more open. And there's some that aren't. I'm not saying, everybody is. I just think that there's more in the numbers of heterosexual people who will cross over into love without the boundary of gender, more than somebody who's restricted themselves to the same-sex relationship because they were very limited, like they're only going to take these people. And then I just think I wonder, and a guy in my comments said, well, if you're attracted, I mean, you're attracted to somebody. Yeah, but you shouldn't be attracted to what's on the outside. You're supposed to be attracted to what's on the inside. So right there, you have got a limitation because for some reason, you're just stuck on the outside of somebody. So it's just by attraction. That's the problem with our relationships. Like, Jesus Christ, I've been in plenty of them where somebody's just attracted to me. They're just attracted. So they just want to be with me because I'm attractive. And then they don't like me at all. They don't like my personality. They don't like anything about me other than how I look. That is not the kind of relationships that we need to have in our future. We need to have the kind that we go deeper in. We want to get to know the soul. We become attracted to a soul, not a shell. So I think that is something, I don't know, just I was generally asking the question out to gay people, like, do you feel like you could fall in love with somebody of the opposite sex? Like, do you cut yourself off totally? Like, I wouldn't even go and be around one. I would never even think, like, I've seen it in movies before, where a gay guy will be hanging out with some girl all the time and then he'll start liking her. But then because he's gay, he's certainly not going to do that. Like, especially, she has a vagina. Ooh, ooh. So, I don't know. I just think everything is about the questions. It's all about asking yourself the questions to see, where do I stand on this? How do I look at this? And why? Question yourself of why you look at things the way you look at them. Because all of the ways that we look at things are programmed into our minds. And like these movies that keep popping up, these old horror sci-fi movies that I keep seeing, they're really fun. They're really good. But oh my God, the disclosure. Oh my God, they were telling us this whole fucking time. And these movies are the 50s and 60s. And they've been telling us the whole time. Everything. Like, I swear to God, I could sit all day long and just do clips out of these movies of either programming or disclosure. It's just nonstop, nonstop. And even in the most hokey movies, there's one, I don't remember what it was called. And it was, even the music was exactly Beach Blanket Bingo. And one of the guys was even in Beach Blanket Bingo. And the girl in the movie was like step down Annette Funicelli. Like, can we get a cheaper version of Annette? She looks like her, she acts like her, but it's not her. And so, it's like some low budget kind of hokey movie that is like being serious but being funny at the same time. I don't know. It was like a thing back in the day of the movies. But oh my God, the amount of disclosure and all these. And then I watched this other one too, and it was called Interpreters, and it was a newer one. And it was the same thing. It just popped up, and it was like a sci-fi horror thriller or something like that. And so I was thinking Interpreters. It probably is something, for sure. I'll have something with aliens or some supernatural thing. So I started watching it. Oh my God. By 16 minutes, I could have done 3 or 4. But I did 1 or 2 videos that far in. And I was just, at this point, they've already disclosed the corporate espionage that's going on and the high crimes involved in it, and we're all expendable. That they're using frequency as weapons and killing people, or scrambling their minds and putting thoughts into people's heads using frequency. And that there are beings that are in control behind the scenes. And that was legit in every movie that I watched. They would have some way to show how the aliens are either talking to these corporate CEO leaders or mayors or politicians. It was always that they were telling them, you better do what we say, or we're gonna, we can destroy this entire planet if you do not do what we tell you. It was a lot of that kind of stuff. I was like, see, that's what they did. They sold out to some of these bad ones, because the good ones were giving technology to help us. And then they decided, no, they wanted to save the technology and make money off of it and keep us all in the dark. And that's why we all, back when I was a kid, this should have been the Jetsons by now. And we're still in the dark ages. But they are not. They are, a highly sophisticated gangster enterprise, in that they have, I just flashed into my head, and I've seen this video so many times, and I guess somebody Mel K was interviewing, because I could recognize her voice, but the video shows, I think it's some sort of bust on the news or something, but they're little, they look like ice chests, kind of like large ice chest the size of a kid coffin, basically. And then, yeah, that's what they're full of. The harvest that comes in. Like, how many motherfucking dead goddamn kids do you need? Like, son of a bitch, man. Like, it fucking doesn't end with these people. Now, they're marketing, and this is, I mean, you gotta remember, when all this outrageous shit, it is the absurdity, the outrageous stuff. It's what is supposed to draw us in, to wake us up. So we're like, what? What? And I have that all day long. It's like, what the fuck? How long? How far can this go? But there's so many things. I'll see people on TikTok and stuff, and they'll be like freaking out. And that's where I'll be like, kind of start laughing. And I know I feel like kind of cruel, because I'm laughing and they're really in pain. They're really in fear of what's to happen. But I know it's the absurdity. Like, I see behind what's happening. And my mom is constantly saying, oh my God, oh my God. And, I had asked her more about my cousin. And because my cousin died a while ago. And she said my cousin was 62. I didn't think my cousin was that much older than me. I thought maybe she was like 6 years older than me. So but I don't know when she died or how old she died, but she went in, she was having headaches. So it was before but they've been poisoning us for a long time, and they've been testing on us, and they direct towards certain proteins or something. There's something in, they isolate and then they attack so that they can see how it works, because they're always thinking, okay, so if we do this and see this works, and then they get this, then if we do it in mass. And so she was probably one of the test dummies, like, she didn't know, like, her area. I'm pretty sure she was living in rural Kansas. But they definitely choose areas, and it definitely depends on your protein, your makeup, and your DNA, how things affect you. And don't forget, your DNA is not just the imprint of your body, your avatar. It's the imprint of your soul. It's your soul's imprint. It is everything about you is like your fingerprint to you is in your DNA. And so this person that, like, if you think of your higher self being vast, like how we think of like sources, all of us together, but then, goes out into like the kidney and the heart, the lungs of this solar system, of this galactic body. So it goes out into these different soul groups. And so like your oversoul, your higher self, is that like the soul of the kidney cells or the lung cells or the skin cells or whatever, the different ones. And so your higher self, your oversoul, has got a whole bunch of souls going out. There's multiple that come from that source. That source goes up to the other source, goes up to, it just gets to where we all eventually meet in one place. And that is like how it is that we're on different wavelengths too, because you are with somebody from your own soul group, they're going to totally understand you. And I don't know, if my soul group is very small. Maybe we're the big toenail of the galaxy or something. I don't know. Like I definitely don't. I mean, I know that there's people who hear me who are totally in alignment and are like, yeah, I know I'm with you from your soul group, but I don't have that where I'm getting to hear all of these other people go out and talk where I'm like, yes. So I trust what people tell me. When people tell me like, oh, I'm totally in alignment with you, like we're totally from the same, but I'll be excited when I start being, around people. Like I definitely feel like I've outgrown my area. Like it is like everybody can be nice as can be. It's nothing personally. And I completely get like they're asleep, that they're just really stuck in the 3D. And, there's people who want to be. Like there's no shame in it. Like there's so many people who want to shame people. Oh, they're just not awake. They're so stupid, these sheeple and stuff like that. It's like, do you know the arrogance and ego behind a statement like that? To think like you're better than someone else because you're awake and they're not, to think like that their soul doesn't have a plan, to think you're better than. It's the same kind of concept as like, cut down the trees because one may fall on you. It's like the same kind of concept to me. But anyways, I just feel like I just heard somebody say that the other day, like, you've outgrown your area. And I was like, yeah, that's what it is. I've outgrown my area. There's nothing new. There's no adventure. There's just this like, and I honestly, I really don't know if my place is going to still be here. Like, I don't know. I mean, I hope I get to finish fixing it and, start renting it to travelers and stuff. But I don't know what's gonna go down. It's weird because like somebody yesterday that's up here in this area that we follow back and forth, she was talking something about the weather, and yesterday it was supposedly gonna rain. Today it's supposedly gonna rain, and it never is like got to where it seemed like it was raining, but it was never getting wet on anything. And she was saying, we live like in a rainforest and it's not raining. Yeah, they're drying everything out. So normally it rains so much more. And my driveway is so dry. Everything is so dry. Even if I go out and try and rake, it's just dust. And then my whole yard is like fucking layers of pine needles. The amount of dead trees in my yard right now. It's just like, how do I come back from this? Like, is this whole area about to go? Just like, Florida underwater. What are they going to do? Are they just going to burn us out and do it right when it's about to get cold? I know I'll just head for Spokane, go stay with somebody, go to my mom's and stay with my mom, live in the cat world. But, I know it would be temporary. I do everything I could. My solution would definitely be either get a houseboat or a camper and just become nomadic. Just go out and just live my life being a nomad. And I don't know. Even my mom last night, and I have told her so much about this money thing, but I swear to God, you can tell somebody until you're blue in the face and it doesn't click. It just doesn't click. So she was saying, oh, I'm so mad right now. My retirement just went down. It's dropping. And they dropped it 250 or something like that. I'm like, oh, it is gone. You say bye-bye. If you can't get it out right now and spend it. If I was you, I would get it out and I would go buy a boat or something. Like, I don't know how many times I gotta say this shit. It is like, it is gone. The money is gone. It is an illusion. It's not there. There is no fucking retirement. Like, everybody thinks in such three-dimensional kind of perspectives. Like, it's and it's so difficult when you see so far beyond what other people see and you try and explain it to them. And it's like, I'm telling you, it just reminds me so much of like having a 2 or 3 year old and you keep trying to teach them how to tie their shoe. That really fumbling where you just want to grab the reins and say, here, let me just show you. Let me just show you. And you got to, just allow people to awaken to this stuff. And it's crazy because they'll just be like, yeah, but I have that money in there. It's like, no, you don't. It was the gamblers that had your money. You didn't ever have it. It was a game. They gave you a little to keep you on the hook. It's it's a game and it's overplayed and they don't have anywhere to go. The whole system is blowing up. And there's so many people, yeah, but if they do that, then I'm going to have a lien on my house. Well, if they do that, then I'm not even going to have a house or a car. If the banks go down, what am I supposed to do? It's like, they will go down. You keep your stuff. Your stuff is yours. You no longer owe on your stuff. Well, no. They'll just take it. And it's like, oh my Lord. Go look up Nisargasar. Just go look it up. Go read for yourself. Go investigate. I was doing this in 2020. I was investigating this stuff. I was looking up. I hung on every fucking economy thing I could find. I was going in and watching it and listening to it and understanding what was going on. But then you try and explain it to people and they can't. People have to see it for themselves. That's why all of this is playing out. People have to see it to understand it. That's part of the path to reality, is to see. I mean, like right now we're walking the path in this fake artificial world, to walk ourselves out into something real. And, I just saw this other video and there's a lot of really cool videos right now that people are making. This one was talking about, nature, and that is our real thing. We've mostly lived more in harmony with nature, this world that they created that's so artificial. And then they put up everything about artificial and this consumerism and stuff. And in this video, they definitely were showing the Kardashians on those parts of like these fake people in this fake world and all of that. And the Kardashians are gonna just keep being called out nonstop. I mean, their fall will be as high as they were, will be that hard of a fall for a lot of people. And it's not, if everybody had an opportunity, everybody has an opportunity. Like I know that there's celebrities out there who are doing good work, and they are, I think probably there's a lot of them who know they're caught up in a web right now that is being disintegrated. Like it's all, it's explosive. Like I think there's so many people who are so negative towards celebrities. It's like, the only reason you would be this negative is if you idolized them that much. If you would have not just given your heart and soul to idolization, you wouldn't be so angry. So that's something for these people to work out. But like I said, everything is provoking this anger to come up, and some people like to keep it in there and keep it fire stoked. It's like, this is your release, but if you want to hold on to it, that's going to hold you back. But I know that there's people out there, that are doing good works, and the Kardashians could have said, hey, you know what, we're just mannequins here, we're misleading you, we're telling you, like, I guess now, yesterday there's a picture now, Kim is super skinny, super skinny, which could be CGI. Who knows what the hell? She could just go in and get a body cut down. I don't fucking know. Like, this world is so fucking artificial. But so now she's super skinny and she changes her look all the time. She changes her look so that people will change their look with her. They'll all run and do what she's doing. So go buy the products and all that shit. So now her push is just become super skinny. Nothing about health, nothing about taking care of yourself. Just go. And the person who was showing this video was outraged because, and I think this person's a little chunky, like maybe a little bit, she has maybe some pounds over. I think most people have some pounds over that they want. But that is, that will be easy once this artificial food starts going, once people really start seeing like, fuck, and then you're eating and eating and eating because you're trying to get nutrition and you can't get any nutrition. So you keep eating so you can kind of get energy, but you're eating all artificial. So it's empty calories just being consumed, and it's making people heavy. So this person was saying, all of this plan all of a sudden where they said body positivity and, all of that stuff. And I think that is when you started having lots of really overweight people going out and dancing and taking some clothes off and really claiming their body, and getting excited and wanting to be accepted because they don't understand why they're so large. I mean, they don't understand if they've got emotional problems and they're eating for their emotions. They haven't figured that out. And they haven't figured out that the food is all toxic and it makes people extremely obese, especially certain people that are targeted by certain proteins and stuff. And, there's a whole thing, like you can go read about that wheat belly and stuff. There's reasons why some people have these gluten intolerances and stuff. It's certain people are very, and our GI is a big one because that is everything of our absorption. So many people, and I always say the kombucha saved my ass, man. It was the best thing I ever did was start drinking kombucha because they had fucked my GI up so bad. My whole life, I mean, I was having GI problems as a kid. I was getting taken to the hospital for these weird stomach aches I would get. And I don't even know how to explain them. I thought that it was like some sort of spasm in my stomach, and it would be like a muscle cramp. And my stomach would go into this tight cramp, and it wouldn't go. Oh, it was horrible. And they could never figure out what it was. And I've had it a few times as an adult. But I got into where I'd have to teach myself, you just have to go lay down, you have to get flat, and you have to deep breathe, and you have to just focus on relaxing so that your stomach can relax. But anyways, I've had GI problems, my whole life. And so when I was on all the meds and it gave me colitis and I was so sick, I thought I was going to die. I seriously couldn't even get up and walk across the room. I'd have to hold on to the walls and stuff. I was so sick. I was horrible. And then when I went and they told me, oh, well, you got colitis. And I knew that was just on top of other things. Like I already knew that there was stuff going on, and I knew I needed to get off the pills, but it was kind of like I needed that push. And as soon as I found out about that and that the pills were giving it to me, that is when I was like, fuck that, I'm going off all these motherfucking pills. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not fucking taking this shit anymore. So I had to look them all up. You have to look them all up. You have to see how to wean off of them. Some you can just stop immediately, but some you have to wean down and taper off of. And you have to be really careful. And still, no matter what, you will have withdrawals. It is a chemical withdrawal. You will get sick. That's where I started using the RSO. And that is what helped me. And that is where I started. My kids would bring me like little hard candies of weed and stuff like that. And that's what I would use. Back then, I wasn't smoking weed. Now I'm totally just natural. Like, yeah, I'll smoke a joint over anything else. Like, no fucking way. I mean, even if I have any alcohol, and be like, go out with somebody and have a margarita or have a Mexican food or something, once a year. I'm not just much of a drinker. Just, I don't know. I did something with my brain injury too. If I drank, I would get, did something to my brain. It just didn't work anymore. Like I did a lot of weird shit when I very first got my brain injury and was drinking. Did some weird shit. Like, one of the times I left, I was in a fight with my husband. I don't even know if it was a fight. He just really annoyed me. I just really didn't like him. I mean, it was probably a good reason why he always was feeling suicidal. We didn't like each other. And, I think a lot of relationships are like that. You just don't like the person. It's just like, oh my God, what am I doing with you? Oh my God, damn. I'm like, It's just somebody who wants to be drunk all the time and whine and always, the only thing they want to do is go and get drunk and whine. And then and I want to go out and go dancing. And then they would go into a bar and they'd just go sit with some stranger and sit and talk to a stranger. One of the times, he sat all evening talking to a cross-dressing guy. I was like, so you go out with me, but then you go spend all your time. I was like, I already have my suspicions about you anyways. You need to figure out who the fuck you are, dude. And anyways, so we were at this bar, and I don't know if I thought I wanted to, I don't have any idea. But anyways, I just left. And I started walking. And when I was walking, and in my head, I really had some hard times with my brain injury in the beginning, very hard. But I thought I was really close to town. And then I walked, and I'm walking way out in the middle of nowhere. Because it was in another town next to our town. Like Spokane has little towns too. And so it was a ways to walk because it was out like by Colville. So I was walking and I got down to the end. And then when I got to the end of that and I looked down, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on the highway. Where the hell? I thought it was so much closer. Man, I got a long walk. And then this guy pulled up and asked me if I wanted a ride. And normally I would never take a ride in a stranger's car. But I did. I was like, okay. And a policeman, before this guy, a policeman had pulled up and asked me something. And I said that I was lost and I needed a ride. And he was like, oh, well, too bad. See ya. He didn't give a shit. Cops are not there. What is that called? Like peace officers there to protect and serve. Bullshit. So I got in the car with this guy and he drove me. And he drove me to one of my kids' house. I went up and I started knocking and nobody came to the door. And so I went to the next one and they woke up and I went in and I just went to bed. And then a couple hours later, I'm getting woke up and there's helicopters out looking for me. There's a whole scene. There's a whole scene going on. I've got kids crying that think I'm lost, that I'm dead. And oh my gosh, it was, and I mean, everybody really got mad at me about that one. So I just did some weird things back when I was still drinking. So anyways, it just doesn't go well with me. It's not like but also, I'm not going to be somebody who would go and drink. Even though I did a couple of times when I first got my brain injury. I went out and did some, I would go out with people and they'd be like, do shots. And I would do these shots and then I would be puking. I'm not a drinker, but I would get so sick. Like I like to taste it and stuff, but oh my God, I would get so sick. So anyways, but I do smoke weed and some people think that's a drug. I don't think that's a drug. I think that is this whole thing with the FDA wanting to get into be over shit. Like they shouldn't be over plants. We should be able to, we should be able to go out and eat what the hell we want to eat out of the fucking plants. There's so many plants out there that we could be living off of where people are all in a panic because this government is trying to fuck us with the food. But so much of the food was not stuff that was even good for us. Like the whole thing with nightshades. There's a lot of reasons why people have a lot of stomach problems and issues with their system because they're feeding us stuff that we shouldn't be eating. Some of it is very toxic to us. You can look up about Stephen Gundry, and he's not the only one now putting out these studies with all these different things, and nightshades are a big one. I mean, even tomatoes, and that could have been why that's why I kept telling myself last night, is that fucking tomato is fucked my stomach now because tomatoes are very toxic to us. And I mean, I love salsa. I love tomatoes. I'll eat a tomato sandwich. So, but some of the stuff is super toxic to us. So, I don't know, and then but this girl, when she was talking about, they had this big push for everybody to get, oh yeah, just, get heavy. Who cares? Love yourself. and then lock everybody down. And so many people gained weight the first year of quarantine. A lot of people gained weight. Some people got really into, fitness and started working out and taking care of themselves because there was nothing to do at home and except for think. And I think the people who were alone were better off, like me. Like, you were forced kind of to see things in a certain way and to realize certain things. So it puts you in a certain direction. I think other people who were locked down, who had other influences, it kept them distracted from seeing. So a lot of people gained a bunch of weight and stuff. And then they tell them, to put that on. It's going to interfere with your health, your breathing, with so many things. And, it's just rebreathing dirty air and all of your spit that goes out there. Like, all you got to do is get a petri dish, swab your mouth and put it in there, and then just set the dish over and let it grow. See what happens. And then see if you want to put a damn mask on again. It's like, we had to do that kind of stuff in microbiology. So I know, like, I'm not putting that on and sitting there breathing that stuff. Like, you can sit and have diarrhea and gas in your pants all day and then cover your face with that. Probably is just as clean. It's like, it's gross. The people putting that stuff over. Like, there's a reason why this is open. And when you get germs that take you out, it's because it's supposed to. You were weak. It was time to go. It is part of the plan. There is nothing that can happen that isn't supposed to happen. But now that, it's their roller coaster ride of controlling people's weight and health. And at some point, people have to recognize and jump off the train and be like, I'm not playing these games. And now they're bringing back those really low-cut pants. So look at these really skinny girls all over our screens that will have really low-cut pants and really little tiny shirts, and they'll put them in all sorts of cute clothes. We're all, I want to look like that. Oh, I want to dress like that. Oh, blah. And get people feeling down and getting people getting on the fucking diet wagon. Oh, I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna lose weight. Join a gym. I'm gonna get NutraSweet or whatever. And they're gonna put all this money into the diet industry, and then become frustrated because it's all a scam, because it's just a scam. You have to listen to your body. You have to you go into communion with your body. You start telling your body what you want to look like. Then you start listening to your body. It will tell you what to eat, when to get up, when to move, what to do. Your body will tell you if you trust it and you listen to it. You don't have to go in and be like, oh, well, this plan works for them, so I'm going to go do their plan. They're completely different genetic makeup. What works for one is not going to work for everyone. Everyone has to come up with their own plan. And that is this whole illusion why they keep us all trapped in this like group mentality of like, oh, everybody do this. And then the people who can't feel like failures. They feel like that they are the only ones who can't do it. Something's wrong with them, which feeds into this God makes mistakes. God makes mistakes. It's like, I don't know. I could just fucking go on and on and on about so much of this shit. I swear to God. But all I know is that shit is going to go down. And when it goes down, people need to be prepared. And if you're not prepared, and your guides are not telling you what to do, then listen to them, because they're leading you whatever your destiny is. As long as you're listening to them. I think some people are not listening at all. But whatever's going to go down, it's going to be hard. It's going to be like in the first couple weeks of quarantine when people were so confused. But also people were a lot more positive. Like, oh yeah, well, if we just do this and everything will go back to normal, we'll just do this. And it was never, ever going to go back to normal. Like, never, ever was it ever going to go back to normal. And so it will be, but if that is in conjunction with the crashing and people think they've just lost everything and then everything shuts down, and then you have all these people in total fear of, the UN, the NWO, all of the shit that is hanging over us, because it's all real. It's all really hanging over us, but it's not going to really go down, but you don't know how far it's going to go. Like, are some people going to have, some takeover go on, like us people in the 100-mile radius? Is there going to be, like, I don't know what we're all going to have to face in every place we are, but it's going to be a lot of stuff. This whole thing, with this pipeline now, that to me is really bad. Like, and I would assume, I mean, we know it's not really Joe. I mean, he's a fucking puppet to a huge cabal. Like, he's nothing. He's not even real Joe. He's just the guy who gets to be on the stage to show us what a piece of shit the real one was. So when that what was I gonna say? I can't remember what I was about to say. But anyways, when the stuff starts going down, it is okay. So the pipeline thing, whatever, he had been talking about it and said that he'll make sure it happens. I don't even know, because I don't go and hang on all of this stuff, because I know it's all just to either outrage you, to get you to wake up, to create fear. Like, it's all a thing. So, like, I went in and listened all the time when Trump was talking. I don't go in and listen all the time when Joe's talking. I see it when I go across it, when people are sharing it. And that's how I know so many people get super consumed with certain things, because you see multiple people sharing the same thing. And so, something about, he said that they would make sure this didn't, whatever's going with this pipeline thing. So yesterday it was bombed or something, and now it's leaking a huge amount of methane out into the water, which is expected to kill all the ocean life. And then it's putting this gas, more methane than any time throughout history since the Cold War or something. Like, this is a huge, like, explosive amount of methane going up into the sky, which, anything can happen with that, right? It's going up in the sky. I saw a girl yesterday who was having this prophetic dream. She was bawling her head off. She was freaking out. I mean, there is some people freaking the fuck out. She was one of them, and she was bawling. So her dream was this grandma that she didn't, who's already passed, and she was never really close with this grandma, but this grandma came into her dream, and they were doing something. They were packing some stuff up in this house, and all of a sudden the grandma went to the door of the window and started screaming. So the daughter, she was screaming or crying or something really dramatic, and the daughter, or the granddaughter, went over and looked, and she said, and she's bawling while she's telling this, I'm not even kidding, she was terrified, and she kept saying, I have not been living right. I know I haven't been living right. I've got to get right. This is gonna happen, and all this stuff. But so so when she looked out, the sky ripped open, just ripped. And, whatever, they're definitely, everything that they're leading up to is, is the sky going to rip, and they're just trying to do a backstory? Like, oh, we got the methane, it leaked up, it caused this explosion, everybody just run in your house. It's like, there's no telling. Like, you got to remember, we're in a very dramatic movie, and it's like the grand finale. And so, I don't know, but she was totally freaking out, and she was like, I got to get right by God. I haven't been living right at all. My grandma told me before she left. And so, anyways, there's a lot of people having all these dreams of seeing, and, I don't know. Something big is going to go on, something I think that none of us can even imagine. And I think that it is important to just be prepared, just because, like, if you are sitting there in your house and you're not prepared, and shit goes down and everything's off and there's chaos in the streets, you can't go to the store and buy food at that point. The money's not going to work. People are going to be looting. You'd have to go out and get involved with that kind of crisis. And then it's like, man, you're out there like Kyle Rittenhouse or something out there, in a chaos of fucking thieves and vandals. So I say, but I know that this is temporary. I know it's all temporary. And it's just riding out the storm. And a lot of these people who were riding out the storm, I mean, if shit went down, they're not going to come on and talk because they're dead. But the ones who are, they're still in their houses and they're still alive and talking and stuff. And they're like, wow, it was really bad. And as soon as it's light, I'll go out and show you. And I guess the back end of the storm was way worse. But, there's footage that showed the storm from above. And it was all this electrical shocks you could see. They were creating it. They were doing it, you know. So, and they're going to keep on doing it. They're not going to stop until they're taken down. And we're going to know that they're taken down when the banks and stuff, when things start going the other way, then we'll know, like, oh, okay, so now things will go the other way. The poisoning will stop, you know. Those are the things to me, we just got to get through this part, the end of the story to get to the new story. So anyways, you got to just stay on guard, stay safe, just keep working on you. Try and not get so distracted by all of the problems out there and all the crises that everybody's having to face, because every single person chose the crises. Just like where people think like a tree can just fall on somebody and kill them. So we got to be careful that you got to realize, no, that tree was always going to fall. That person was always going to leave. If it wasn't a tree, it would have been something else. They would have tripped and fallen and hit their head on a rock. Something would have happened because it was their time to go. The quickest, easiest way to go. A tree fall on your head, you're gone. And so that's what people just need to really see. Yeah, it's going to seem like a lot of horrible, sad things, but it's really just people leaving the stage. They finished their part, why they were here, and they're just going. And it's, you try and say that, like, you just come across as heartless. Somebody came into my comments yesterday, and they were like, saying something, what about blah, 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 and I just lost my son, and blah, blah, blah. I was just like, man, there's nothing I can say to you right now that's going to make any sense at all, because the stuff I'm talking about is like way beyond what people even want to understand about life. Like I think there's some people who don't want me to be right. They want this to be like a 3-dimensional world and you have control and stuff like that, but it's just not. So anyways, you got to stay safe, and just keep in mind, if you are traveling or doing anything, like like they said, as soon as you get there, fill up your tank, because be ready, because if anything goes down, everything is going to close down and the chaos will start immediately. And they've already got them out there ready to go. So anyways, I'll post this one. Yesterday was weird because it was like on there within 45 minutes. So maybe this one will go really fast. I keep doing it really early, but I guess it's kind of light out, but still it's pretty dark. I don't know when daylight savings time is going to go, but it's so dark. And I don't know. I just know, that's the other one too. Yeah, this guy, he was, I think he was in New York. In his video, he said, I don't normally talk about this stuff. I don't listen to conspiracy. There's so many people saying this kind of stuff now. So many. I don't normally listen to conspiracy theories, but this kind of has me worried. I was like, well, you probably should. But he was saying that he was someplace and he was standing there, and the guard that was standing there said, so are you ready? And the guy said he took out his earbuds and he's like, what? And he goes, are you ready? And he's like, well, I didn't know what he was talking about. So I just said, yeah, I'm ready. And he goes, okay, good, because it's going to be bad. And and the guy's standing there like, well, and then the guy said another thing, like, you need to have your generator, you need to have your water, he starts going through this list. And the guy was like, well, I don't know, maybe we're not talking about the same thing. I don't know. What are you talking about? And he goes, shit is about to go down. It's going to be really bad. It's going to be real bad for a couple of weeks. And I'm hearing it from all the way up at the top. Like, this is about to go. And he's like, the people who I'm hearing this from, I know that it's right. And so then this guy was like, man, I don't know. Now I'm kind of like, I think something's about to go down. And then the guy goes, but, it's about time. And so, that's how I feel too. Like, I mean, we all know something has to occur. This has to end. And the only way for it to end is as dramatic and violent as they've been this whole time. And then it will be the cleanup after, and those of us who were safe and hidden and taking care of ourselves, we will come out. And that will be to start rebuilding and recreating a world out of this debris, out of this nonsense. So, I know that a lot people who listen to me, I know that you guys are all on the same page. Like what's going on and how it's going to go down and stuff. And so, we just got to be safe and take care of yourself, and no, nothing can happen that's not meant to happen. That's the biggest thing of all. So I will talk to you later. Bye.